with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella, and I am a little deep today. I am very sorry about that. Despite dealing with a little bit of a cold here in the state of New Jersey, because our temperatures are as bipolar as it gets over the last month, I also am dealing with voice loss because we are in the middle of baseball season, and we had 3 conference games over the weekend, 2 on Sunday and 1 yesterday. And so I have not had the chance to get this voice fully back. So I'm sorry for missing the Monday morning show. You would have not been able to hear a thing if I got on that show yesterday morning, and I will continue to push through for the people. I got my glass of Lipton tea here to help my throat so I can get through the Rome Show here on a Tuesday morning. You can get in on the action. We got a really good show for the people. We got some weekend recaps. We got to talk Masters. The NBA playoffs start. The WNBA draft happens last night. So much to do here on a Monday, and I want to get you in on the action. Head to YouTube or X, go to 12OZ Sports, and you can comment live on the show and get in on everything. The social media handles.
Hump Day.
That's not Hump Day. The social media handles. There it is. The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You know the drill. All right, let's get it started with a recap of Rory McIlroy completing the career Grand Slam at Augusta on Sunday. It took not 72 holes, but 73, because in typical Rory McIlroy fashion, Rory had a lead going into the last hole, needed to par to win the tournament. He bogeys on 18 and sets up a playoff with Justin Rose, who came flying in the last rounds to score a -11 overall on the 4 days and force a playoff. Justin Rose is 66 in the final round comparative to Rory McIlroy's 73, forces a 2-player playoff. And for those that might not know the history of this thing with Rory McIlroy, early in Rory's career, not only did he have a chance to win the Masters at 21 years old, and he shot a final round 80 to finish 15th after having a 54-hole lead, Rory McIlroy has been 1 win at Augusta away from the career Grand Slam for the entirety of his career, okay? And there are not many people that have had career Grand Slams, so he is on a short list of people that have now completed this career Grand Slam, but it eluded him for 14 years. And so many times we've watched Rory McIlroy, not just at the Masters, but in a major, falter late in the tournament. And you would argue that Rory has 5 major championships right now underneath his belt. He's got the PGA twice, US Open once, and the Open Championship once, and now the Masters. You might argue Rory could have at least double-digit tournament victories, okay, in the majors. However, he has hurt himself late in tournaments. And this green jacket, this Masters victory, has eluded him longer than it feels like it's eluded any player in the history of the game. And heart-wrenching, gut-turning losses for Rory during that time period. Well, Justin Rose hits a big putt on 18. Rory doesn't. And you get a playoff that looks like this. Both dudes put the ball in the fairway. Here's Justin Rose's first shot. Beautiful.
Actually, a little unlucky that it got stuck right there. You thought it would have fed back a couple feet.
But Rory said, hold my golf club.
This isn't going right. Might be going right at it. Should come back down off the slope.
Oh, man. Look at that shot.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness is right. And now Rory McIlroy, a chance to become a Masters champion. Justin Rose first for birdie. And so now it's just down to Rory here. And everyone knows it. And everyone wants it, by the way.
Journey it's taken to get here. For all this history. The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Watch this celebration. Look how much this means to this man. Crying. Freaking out. I mean, this is career-changing, life-changing type stuff. It just mattered so much to him. Rory was my pick going into the tournament. He's been playing some great golf as of late. Here are the career numbers on Rory McIlroy. He's played in 263 career events on the PGA Tour. He's got 29 PGA Tour wins. He has 11 runner-ups, 11 third-place finishes, and 83 top 5 finishes, and 129 top 10 finishes. He's won the FedEx Cup 3 times, and he is also now one of, I believe, 8 players. I'll have to double-check that with the career Grand Slam. When you look at Rory McIlroy all time, with that 29th victory on tour, he sits top 15 all time in total tour victories. Sam Snead, Tiger Woods are tied at the top of that list with 82. Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods sit at the top of the major championships list, with Jack Nicklaus having 18, Tiger Woods having 15, and there are a multitude of guys at 6 and 7. So Rory McIlroy trying to cement himself as one of the greatest golfers of all time. Rory still has a lot of career left in golf terms, but one could argue his career has never been more defined as it has in this moment over the weekend. So congratulations to Rory McIlroy, finally completing the career Grand Slam, finally getting his green jacket. And I got to be honest with you, it was so much fun to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed how it had to happen. And I said this to my team yesterday: adversity is opportunity, okay? And that's the case here with what Rory McIlroy has gone through. And there are a lot of people that don't like Rory. There are a lot of people close to me in my life that are like, he's a or he's a tool, or whatever word you want to use. Listen, he doesn't have to be your cup of tea. He doesn't have to be the perfect person, but you got to respect his golf game, okay? And you got to respect his dedication to the game. And you got to respect how good he has been, okay? And when you see him with his wife and his daughter, how could you not, regardless of your feelings on him, how could you in that moment not absolutely appreciate and love what you are watching? And by the way, for those people that don't love sports, for those people that don't agree with sports, for those people that might not understand why people love sports, just go rewatch that last 20 minutes. Okay, from Rory McIlroy winning the Masters to being celebrated, to crying, to meeting his family, to going to the press conference. Watch it. Watch how much it matters. And again, sports is the best depiction of life, because 11 years ago, when Rory McIlroy was one round away from the career Grand Slam at like 23 years old, you're looking at, this could be the next Tiger Woods. And look what adversity did. It took him 11 years to win another major tournament. You just never know when it's going to come. And I don't care whether you like or you don't like somebody, you have to appreciate the ability to stick to pounding the stone in those scenarios. You have to appreciate the willingness to keep going to get to that point and achieve that milestone. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy. Got thoughts on it? Comment on X or YouTube. Just go to X or youtube.com/12OZ Sports, and you can comment live on the show, the social media, the Rome Show 1. All right, we got NBA playoffs starting this week, ladies and gentlemen, and we will start with the standings in the Western Conference. So, on the final day of the season, okay, the Warriors lost in OT to the Clippers, and that was a big deal because as you look at the standings on your screen, the Clippers finish in the 5 seed because of that win, and the Warriors, they get dropped down to the play-in number 7 seed because of that loss. The playoffs, they start tonight, okay? Well, the play-in, which I call the playoffs because that's essentially what it is. Okay. I know that we're playing in to the quote unquote playoffs, but at the end of the day, it's all the playoffs. I digress. Today, the Hawks, they take on the Magic, and the Grizzlies, they take on the Warriors. So the Grizzlies and the Warriors are the 7-8 seed in the Western Conference, as you can see here. And the winner of this game gets to play the number 2 seeded Houston Rockets, okay? Now, if we flip to the Eastern Conference final standings, okay, you can see our playing teams are Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Miami. The Hawks and the Magic will play today, and the winner of that game gets to face the Boston Celtics in the first round of the postseason. Tonight, those games are at 7:30 and 10 o'clock. Orlando's favored in the Eastern Conference matchup by 5.5. The Golden State Warriors are favored in the Western Conference by 7.5. On Wednesday, you'll get the 9-10 matchups on both sides. So here's how this thing works. 7 and 8 play each other, okay? The winner of 7 and 8 goes instantly into the playoffs and plays that 2 seed, okay? The loser of 7-8 waits for the winner of 9-10. Then the winner of 9-10 and the loser of 7 and 8, they play to win and go be the 8 seed and play the number 1 seeded team. So your number 1 seeded team in the West is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And there's a lot of question marks about whether this quote unquote young team can handle the being the number 1 seed thing. I think they can. And then in the Eastern Conference, you're looking for a date with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think this postseason in the NBA is going to be a lot of fun. Besides the fact that I just love postseason basketball or postseason sports in general, you have 2 teams in the 1 seed, OKC and Cleveland, that are, by the general basketball eye, unproven in the postseason. So there's a lot of question marks as to the number 1 seeds on both sides of the fence. Now, in basketball, you don't often see an 8 seed beat a 1 seed. And I don't think you're going to see that this year. But once we get past that first round, I believe both teams are deep. I believe both teams are good enough. I believe both teams are fantastically coached. It just comes down to, do they have that gene inside of them, okay, that gets it done in the biggest moments in the postseason. 82 regular game season and 2-month postseason, so different, especially in the National Basketball Association. One more story before I get to a commercial break. Chris Paul, want to shout out Chris Paul. Congratulations on becoming the oldest player in NBA history to play 82 games in a season. This was Chris Paul's 20th season in the NBA, and he played 82 games. That is the first time in NBA history a player has reached his 20th season, and in that season played 82 games. In a day and age when not just in basketball, but in all sports, we are looking at rest, and we are looking at getting guys time off so that they quote unquote last. That's awesome to see from a 40-year-old point guard whose numbers, by the way, still prove that he should probably be in the league and not in the YMCA. When we get back from this commercial break, we will talk WNBA draft, National Hockey League, and I got 3 top plays for you from the weekend. Yes, I'm sure you can expect there might be some golf involved, but you know what? Golf's the best. And I love it. And you need to see it. All right, The Rome Show, 12 OZ Sports. Back after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sports book, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
It's the Rome Show!
Yes, it is. It's The Rome Show. 12ozsports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. I'm sorry that I sound like a 30-year-old chain smoker. That is not the case. I can promise you that. I just sound like a college baseball coach that has exhausted every ounce of energy to win a series. The Clones, if you were wondering, starting to figure it out. It's been a lot of fun. Definitely difficult on some days. I actually said to my assistants yesterday after we won, because it was just like, what a game. I mean, unbelievable. Really, really terrible umpiring. Atrocious umpiring, actually. A lot of adversity. And I said to my assistants after the game, I said, man, why did I choose this profession? Because I feel like I just lost 10 years on my life. Like, I understand now why coaches say they lose hair and their hair goes gray quicker, because it is tough sometimes. But there really, to be honest with you, could be no more rewarding career sometimes than when you see a player develop or player get something or a player mature, or you help them in a way they never thought you could help because you're just a quote unquote baseball coach. So Clones are feeling it. My voice might not be, but it's all worth the while, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, the WNBA had their draft, and a one Paige Bueckers was taken number 1 overall in the WNBA drafts. You'll notice some names on here. Another name that you might notice on here, or not notice, excuse me, is Dominique Malanga. Okay, she was the 2nd overall pick from France. Now, I was doing some research on her the other day, and there is, not by her estimation, but by people in France's estimation and other scouts in the WNBA, that this is like the female version of Wemby. Like, she's tall, she's lanky, she can move a little bit, she can shoot the rock, okay? So she goes 2nd overall, and that and I think that's kind of exciting in terms of international players now, much like what's happened in the NBA game over the last 20 to 25 years. You're now hopefully seeing it in the WNBA game, okay? Whereas we know this as a primarily Division I NCAA draft. Well, if you look at this top 5 right here, you got 1 from Lithuania and 1 from France, besides the fact that you have all of the rest of these fantastic players drafted. Continuing on, Paige Bueckers, the number 1 overall pick, which we all knew, is not the most important news for Paige Bueckers this week. No. She signed, Paige Bueckers, a 3-year deal with the unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league. Okay. And you might say to yourself, well, why would she do that? Well, here's the information that you need to know. In the first year of the 3v3 unrivaled league, which will be in his second year going into next year, Paige Bueckers will make more in 10 weeks than she will in the 4-year deal that she's going to get by getting the number 1 overall draft pick in the WNBA. We heard about this last year when Caitlin Clark, NCAA women's basketball's all-time leading scorer, when Caitlin Clark was drafted number 1 overall by Indiana, you started to do the breakdown and you're like, well, if she has 1 more year of eligibility left, in theory, there's really nothing else for her to do besides win a national championship. But she's ultimately going to make more money as a collegiate basketball player than she would as the number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft. Now, the WNBA has since signed a new television deal, way more lucrative over the next 10 years. I think that's going to help. There's clearly more traction, more funding, more finances headed towards the WNBA right now. So that'll change too. But it's really hard to sustain a league where you want this to be the player's primary job. You want this to be like a LeBron in the NBA, an Alexander Ovechkin in the NHL. But you can't make it that way because these ladies aren't getting paid enough. So for your number 1 overall draft pick to have to sign a 3-year deal to play in an off-season 3-on-3 league that will net her more finances than her actual quote-unquote basketball job in the professional ranks, that's got to change. And I understand you can't just change it. You got to make the money to spend the money. But it is a prime factor now that we're all starting to hear about because of how much more popularity women's basketball and the WNBA are getting. So it's time for the WNBA to take the next step. It's time for us to be able to say the first overall draft pick, though it might only be $1 million, gets to $1 million finally instead of $460,000 a year or whatever the case is. So hopefully that new TV deal and the trending positivity of the WNBA can change this conversation and these players can just go play in the WNBA and make their entire salary. Before we get to our weekend top plays, just got to talk to you about this story real quick. Rocky will be on Thursday. He's on assignment right now in Toronto with the fam. So for the first time in National Hockey League history, the Boston Bruins, Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, and New York Rangers, 4 of the original 6 teams from the inception of the National Hockey League, do not make the playoffs. Yes, you heard that correctly. For the first time in the history of the National Hockey League, one of these 4 original 6 teams did not make the postseason. I don't know what that tells you, okay? I don't know if that tells you that you don't need to be in specific places anymore to go win. You could play at any 32 teams across the country, get the money that you want, the notoriety you want, and have the winning success that you want. I don't know. But those 3 teams, 3 of which have like the 3 of the 5 largest media markets in the country, in Chicago, Boston, and New York, that cannot be good for the National Hockey League. So 27 combined Stanley Cups between those 4 franchises, and none of them in the postseason for the first time in National Hockey League history. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's finish this show with our weekend top plays. All right. I got 3 of them for you today. Starting with the first problem. Oh, wait.
3.
Wait. It's Justin Rose on 18.
Center cut for Rose.
Justin Rose had to hit that putt
To put the pressure
Forced
on
action
Rory
to
McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy to make Rory
To get to 11 under. To put the pressure on Rory McIlroy.
here right there in the announcement. Put the pressure on Rory McIlroy and it
The
worked.
green jacket.
Justin Rose hit that big shot, however, Rory,
and Justin Rose is in the club.
that's the victory in the final hole, which is your
number two. Ryan Leach.
We saw it before. Let's watch it again. Rory McIlroy winning the Masters.
Is open again.
Career Grand Slam. 17th time playing in this tournament. 11 years since his last victory. Rory McIlroy. Bang. And you see the excitement on his face. No one deserves it more than Rory. And it was so cool to watch this moment, your number two play. But number one comes from the NBA. We might have just talked about it, but I think you need to hear it for yourself. It's Chris Paul in his 82nd game.
Number one.
Uno. Doing something that nobody expected him to do this season, playing all 82 games. Andrew doing something he didn't expect to do this morning, which is talk on the microphone. I'm sorry the voice is raspy, but I hope the show was great. We'll be back tomorrow morning. It'll be a hump day headlines Wednesday, and we'll have a lot to talk about. So tune in. If you missed the show, missed any part of it, want to share it with a friend, go ahead and just go to the Rome Show podcast or youtube.com/12OZ Sports and share all that. Andrew Romanella, you have an electric day, and until tomorrow, peace.
Thank you for listening.